In any case, we have with us the chairman of the board who just walked in, and we're privileged to have him here with us. His name is Isaac Abraham, and welcome. And it's great to see so much excitement, so much energy in this room. And as chairman of the board, I'd like to ask you, um, what is the vision that you see for Chazaq?
Bezrat Hashem, I tell the guys in the office that we need to set up a goal that we should have a reach within the city of New York. We got to get to Staten Island. So before we get to Staten Island, we need to max out, open up shop everywhere we can, wherever there are Yidden, wherever there are Jews, all over Queens, and all the boroughs in the middle until we hit Staten Island. I gave them somewhat of a realistic goal that I feel we could reach within the next year, and then Bezrat Hashem to create a formula, a recipe that could work to go national. And I do believe it's real, and this is not just the bullets. We've said it over and over again. We have already, Baruch Hashem, successfully put 370 children from public school to yeshiva, and the way that we've done it, 100% with B'siyata D'Shmaya, 100% with help from the community. But I'm talking soups to nuts kind of thing. We set up after-school programs. We set up Sunday school programs, and it's not a horror story that most American Jews think about when they think about Sunday school. It's the exact opposite. Our kids, although they're in public school, when we meet them, they fall in love with the program. They fall in love with the teachers. There's music. There's dancing. There's food. There are prizes, raffles, and we build those bridges. We earn the trust of the families. We're a lot like Nefesh B'Nefesh in terms of helping people to make Aliyah by removing red tape. So we try to remove the red tape between making that transition, which is a very big transition, to go from public school to yeshiva. What we do is we give the parents, dozens of yeshivas to choose from, and we try to feel out the parents to figure out where they are spiritually, where they are, geographically, logistically, where it would make the most sense to put these kids, and where they can grow the most. So it's not just about, throwing all the kids in one basket and putting them in, you take them from one basket and putting them into another. We really take our time to make it tailor-made for each and every child, and it seems to be working. So we're going to put this formula on paper, Bezrat Hashem. We're going to train future leaders, because leaders are not born. You have to build leaders, and we're going to set up those leaders all over Queens, and when we're done with Queens, you better believe we're going to be in Brooklyn. We're going to get to the Bronx, we're going to get to Manhattan, we're going to get to Staten Island, and when we're done, you'll see us slowly but surely going national. That's the goal.
So let me ask you, so in Queens, because this is our backyard, how many kids, how many Jewish kids are there in these public schools? Like an approximation as far as
there must be at least 10,000 children in public school. There was two statistical stats that came out years ago with the population of Queens, the Jewish population of Queens. The first one was in the early 2000s. I think there was 186,000 Jews in Queens, and then the number actually went up. About 10 years later, was a follow-up stat that was done. This is by like the UJA, some big outfit, and the number went up to about 245,000. And they made some amazing observations. 45% of the Jewish families in Queens have a family member that speaks Russian, and many of them are recent immigrants, Bukharian background, Georgian, Russian Jewish, Ashkenazi background, and they're like regular first-generation immigrants trying to establish themselves. Many have already been here for 20 years, but there are those that just got here. And we're reaching out to all of them. But there are plenty of American Jews that we want to get to in Queens.
Right.
Jewish communities are developing right now in Jackson Heights.
Right.
So I feel that we need to be there.
So 370 is a very big number. And then you're saying that there's another, that there's basically 10,000 that you want to reach out to. So tell me what is the goal for this coming year, and how you plan to achieve it?
Well, we have to work in baby steps. It has to be realistic. If we did 370 in the last year and a half, it would be very nice to hit an additional 500 kids within the next year. I believe we could do it. What we need on our end, is a strong staff, an expanded staff, a happy staff, and just more investment towards the raffling, towards the food, and halavai one day down the road. That's not for today's campaign, but to have a center to be able to bring the kids to. There's a lot of dreams. There's
Right.
a lot of
There's
goals.
a lot of dreams. Let me ask you, what is? It's interesting to know, what is a success rate, as far as you reach out to these kids, and these kids, I mean, are influenced by everything else around. Being Jewish all of a sudden brings in all kinds of restrictions. That this they can't do, this they could do. They have to be Shomer Shabbos maybe, and so tell me a little bit about that. What is a success rate? Is it you hit 500 and 370 from 500, or in percentages? What are we talking about?
Understood. So, within the last year and a half, we've touched upon over 1,000 children, and we put in about 370. So, on a rough estimate, let's go conservative. Let's say that there were more kids that we didn't count. Let's say 20%. But the return on our money, the investment, is on average could range anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 to take one kid from start to finish to make that conversion, to bring him from public school to yeshiva. And something you should know and be aware of. I remember once I was at a Shabbaton and there was a Chabadnik over there who was giving over amazing statistics that Chabad had put together, and he basically said the following. He said that for a missionary, lo aleinu, chalil v'chas, to steal a Jewish neshama and get them to go on the other side, would cost them something like $650,000 to $700,000. Meanwhile, on our end, all we need to do is open up our doors for Shabbat, for Shabbos, to smile, to give a hug, and heart to heart.
Right.
So it's pennies on the dollar. It's really unbelievable what we could achieve. And remember, most of the kids that are coming, they want it. They want this. So we're not dealing with somebody who's completely anti. We're willing to deal with them too, because they're Hashem's children too. But by and large, the pool of people that we're dealing with are people that want but don't necessarily know how. I'm not even talking about financials. They just, mamish, don't know where to start.
Right.
Because they're not from that world, but they have a spark in them, a pintalayid.
Right.
And what we do is we fan the flame.
Right, we fan the flame. That's amazing, and to be able to touch so many lives and make a difference, not only for them, but for their future generations as well. So it's really making a big difference. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. It's really a pleasure to talk to you and to hear about the vision and the dream and where Chazaq is going from here. And God willing, we'll do that, and we're going to do that today because we're going to raise $1 million.
Amen. Together. Thank you very much.
Together, absolutely.